Good morning, friends. We are learning our subject, that is data visualization. The code for that is 3160717, and in that we are learning the first module, that is Introduction to Data Visualization. Right. Now, in that, we want to study the key factors of data visualization. Last time, we have seen a bit about the HTML5, right? Okay, so what do we want to know? They are the key factors of data visualization, wherein we want to consider the control of presentation, then faster and better JavaScript processing, rise of HTML5, and lowering the implementation part, right? We have seen that HTML5 was started in around 2004, right? So now let us see what do we want to say about control of presentation. So for that, let us consider the web professionals across the spectrum of their functionality are responsible for this growing sphere of communication. Let us break down the process from that perspective. So, what do we say? Who develop the web programs? They are the web professionals, right? They are the web developers, right? So let us break down the process of this communication. That is whatever we are making and showing to the world. So how it is being implemented. For that, let us consider what technologies are being used. Fine. Okay. So a web developer with server-side skills is needed to handle the back-end processing of data to make it accessible. For example, if we are having any web app, for that, we are having the front end and back end. Front end is where we are showing the things to the user. But from where we are getting the data, that may be coming from the database. Right. So what do we want to have is a web developer with server-side skills is needed to handle the back-end processing of the data to make it accessible. Maybe we are using the server-side scripting, like you can say PHP, Java Servlet, JSP, or you can say CGI or many more, right? Okay, so they use anything, but what we want is we want to have the backend processing and want to get the data available. Fine, okay. A JavaScript coder, JavaScript coder is responsible for filtering, sorting, and manipulating the data to appear it for representation. This role could also be handled server side or in combination with client side technology. See, JavaScript is a technology which is being used at server side as well as client side. At client side, it is being typically used for filtering and you can say manipulating the data as well as for validation. The same can be used as the server side also, right? An HTML coder builds any required forms to allow interactive data addition, often with JavaScript libraries for validation. See, whatever forms we are filling, those must be validated. And for that, typically people are using JavaScript libraries. Fine. Say email address, whether it is written proper or not. See, after we send the data to the server and then it is validated, but that that makes the longer time. If it is feasible to do the validation at the same place where the data is being entered, that will make the work faster. If you say that if we are going to the far distance and getting the data back, that the data is not valid, then that is you can say taking more time. But at the same place where you are entering the data and you are validating, then it will save our time, isn't it? So we can say that JavaScript libraries are used for validating the data or for whichever are being entered through the HTML forms. One or more web designers create the look and feel of all the data related pages, including styling the output of the visualized data. Style. I was talking to you that people are using CSS, that is cascading style sheet, for styling. What sort of styling? Suppose I want to have the same style for all the H1 tags on your web page. Then on all your web pages, what you can do is you just need to set the style of it. That is, for example, for H1 tag, you want that all the H1 tags of our website must be blue. So that is the style you can set, right? You want that for H1 tag for all the web pages throughout our website must be aligned center. So you can set that style, right? And that is using CSS. And the version which people are typically using is CSS3, right? A web coder leveraging his or her own knowledge of JavaScript combined with core frameworks and data visualization libraries displays the data in a representational format. Although the described task could possibly fulfilled by single individual, it is just as likely that these tasks are handled by a group working closely together. See, here in college, you are making your applications single-handedly, or otherwise, say two persons in a group, you are making the applications. But actually, in the companies, the work is being divided among the teams. Say HTML coders are different, JavaScript coders are different. You can say look and feel like designs are there. So for that also you can see people are having the team, right? Whether it is done by one person or a network team spread around the world, the important takeaway is that web professionals own the data visualization process from top to bottom. Right. So who is having the control of presentation? They are the web professionals. In web professionals, we'll consider web developers, JavaScript coders, HTML coders, then web coders, right? Styling people are also there, right? What technology brings to the table? Web professionals are dependent on robust web software to accomplish any aspect of their task. But the need for power tools is particularly vital to properly handle data visualization. So for that, we are using three particular technologies. What do we say about that? Or you can say following three are the keys to represent the data. So what are they? They are faster, more efficient JavaScript engines in the browsers. The rapid proliferation of HTML5 compatible browsers. The increased availability of JavaScript frameworks and libraries. Right? So, faster and better JavaScript processing. What do we want that? Right. So, for the last several years, browsers makers have identified JavaScript processing as a key battleground and have pursued fastest JavaScript engines with great vigor, right? With great power, we can say. See, here you can say is one graph maintained by what and what it is having. See, the bar graph in the figure compares runs of the Sun Spider benchmark created and maintained by webkit.org for older browsers against latest ones, right? So we can say that for older browsers, you can say IE7. Here, IE7 in the figure we can see, and you can say IE10. And for latest one, we can say that is IE10 and Safari 6. For older browsers, we are considering IE7 and Safari 3, right? We can consider Chrome also. The data represented here in the graph, they are for IE and Safari, right? What it says, what it shows, the laser values indicate faster and more desirable processing times by JavaScript engines. See, for IE7, we can say too much big graph is there, bar graph, which shows the times you can say. It is too much. And for IE10, it is very small, right? So it is faster. Same way for Safari 3, we can say it is bigger. It is bigger. But for Safari 6, it is smaller, right? So we are saying that faster and better Java processing are being given by the latest browsers. Okay. The increase in JavaScript processing functionality has direct effect on both the data analysis and rendering phase of data visualization. JavaScript engines handles raw numeric computations as well as on-screen drawing. It greatly increases the viability of direct browser data visualization without restoring, sorry, yeah, restoring the restoring to a third party plugin like Adobe Flash, right? Is we do not have to use that one. Yeah. So we have seen this one, right? That HTML5 we can use for charts, and then we can say for drawing and all those things, right? This is what we have talked of. So what we want to know is rise of HTML5. This also has given the importance to the data visualization, and that is on the web, right? So what do we say about that? A faster engine isn't much good without fuel to run it. Luckily, a load of high-octane HTML5 was delivered just in time. The roots of HTML5 can be found in 2004 and the Web Hypertext Application Technology, that is what working group, but adoption was slow, and W3C had slated the web language for final recommendation status in 2022, which is not yet available, right? But, 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 what happens? The introduction of smartphones, notably Apple's iPhone, changed all that. How? The device embrace of HTML5 instead of flash triggered a feature adoption race among all major browsers, right? As Apple's iPhone, what it has done? What they have done is they have embraced HTML5 in the device instead of flash triggered feature, right? And what it has done? It has raised the race. It has raised the race among all major browsers, right? HTML5 becoming the current standard for mobile devices. Why HTML5 is so important to data visualization? The latest version of web's primary language brings along two closely knit partners. They are the CSS3 and advanced JavaScript APIs. HTML5 has become more popular with these two technologies. They are CSS3 and advanced JavaScript APIs. The enhanced capabilities brought by these three related technologies have truly revolutionized web design and development overall, right? It has changed the world, right? Revolution has come, right? Revolution has come in the web development because of HTML5, CSS3, and advanced JavaScript APIs. The key features of HTML5 that have been especially beneficial for data visualization are the canvas tag. It includes, you can say, blank canvas tag. If you do that, what it does? It suddenly gives you what? It suddenly gives you the access to the full palette of graphics, including primitives such as circles, rectangles, plotted lines with connected lines, gradients, text, imported images, and much more, all drawn by the JavaScript live. In the last lecture, we have seen one example of canvas, and with that we have drawn the rectangle, right? That if you remember, we have used the canvas tag and the JavaScript, right? That was the introduction of the HTML5 canvas, right? You have an option to make whatever you put on your canvas interactive, capable of being changed by the user. So we were talking of the rise of HTML5, why or what things made HTML5 rise, right? So we have talked of canvas tag. Now what else? Second is SVG. What is that? Although we have had limited SVG support for some time, its usage has been greatly expanded with HTML5. This canvas alternative also enables you to create rich graphics on the web, right? SVG, we are having the extension, right? Vector graphics, we can say. For that, we are having, say, SVG as the extension, right? And this has given us the rise, or you can say rich graphics on the web, right? Web fonts, after being limited to a handful of system fonts common to PC and Mac, web designers everywhere were hungry for the possibilities brought by browser support for web fonts. Now, designers can use an ever-growing family of decorative and other font faces to give the impact of their infographics and other data visualizations need, while remaining search engine compatible and screen reader friendly. Advanced form elements, because we were sick and tired of working with the extremely limited set of form elements. This one was pretty high on our personal wish list. List was not available. You can say, ma'am, list was there. How it was there? It was available in a different way in the HTML4. But here we are having some more. It is wish list. We are not considering the only list, right? Wish list. So what we say, list was available, fine, it was there in HTML4, no issue for that. For email, do we have anything? In HTML4, you can say you are having the text box that is text filled, and you can say you can take the email, you can take the telephone, you can take the URL, but that was using text box. What HTML5 gives us? HTML5 brings a great number of new input types such as email, telephone number, URL, that makes it much easier for users to correctly enter the proper data, especially on mobile devices. In addition, new form controls such as the range slider bring an enhanced user experience into play. Browser support for these elements is not quite at the same level such as some of the other HTML5 features, but it does not seem to get better with each version release, right? So what we can do with all these things? That lowering the implementation part. What do we mean by that? Now we have powerful vehicle, that is JavaScript HTML5. But who drives the vehicle? JavaScript related libraries, specifically those written in jQuery. They drive, right? Though with JavaScript knowledge, the requisite data acquisition, conversation, and rendering can be managed. However, armed with core jQuery and targeted libraries such as a process becomes more efficient and successful. Most sophisticated JavaScript libraries also make it more straightforward to modify controlling parameters and even the data itself on the fly. This added degree of flexibility strengthens the case for taking advantage of core libraries such as Google Charts, D3, Raffle, and JQplot to the name, right?